Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the solution of a one-dimensional heat equations in which the both ends of the bar are insulated. So both the ends of the bar are insulated. So what was in type 1? In type 1 was, so if you have a rod, so in the type 1 both the ends had the temperature 0. In this scenario, what is the case over here? Bars are both the ends of the bar are insulated. That means what? There is no flow of heat from the end points. So from here also there is no flow of heat, and from here also there is no flow of heat. So laterally also it is insulated, no doubt, but from the end points also, from the ends also, the bar is insulated. So now since here it is insulated, that means here there is no flow of heat or the flow of energy. So what does that imply? That implies that your u with respect to x at 0, that means the rate of change is 0, right? Because there is no passage of heat, it's constant. That means what is the rate of change? It will be 0. Here also there is no passage of heat, so what will be the rate of change? Rate of change will be 0. Okay, so that's how you interpret the boundary conditions with the help of this insulation. Okay, so since they are insulated, that means no heat flows through them. Through them means through the boundary points, and because of that the rate of change is 0. Okay, good. Okay, so let's derive the solution now. So I won't be doing everything from start over here. I will take some part from the type 1 solution. So if you recall what we did over here, what we did over there was our u of xt was nothing but x of x into t of t. We did the variable separable, and from there we got two equations. What were those two equations? Those two equations were x double dash minus kx equal to 0 and t dash minus kc square t equal to 0. So I'm taking this part from there. Okay, from here then what we did? We took the help of the boundary conditions. Now here what do we have? So here I am having ux of 0t means del by u by del by x at 0 is 0, and del by u by del by x at the end is also 0, because the rate of change is 0 because the ends are insulated. So that means what? So what is my u? 0 is equal to ux of 0t. Ux with respect to x I am doing, so this means what? X dash of 0 into t of t. Again the same thing, the product is 0, this product is 0, but t is the function, this capital, if this capital T is 0, that means what? My u will be 0, but my u is, I want non-trivial solution, so this implies what? My x dash of 0 is 0. And here also if I do 0 is equal to ux of L comma t, this is nothing but x dash of L into t of t. Again the same thing, this implies x dash of L is equal to 0. So this in the type 1 we got x of 0 was 0, x dash of L, x of L was 0. Now here we are getting the same thing for derivatives. Okay, so now what were the cases? The first case was k was greater than 0. So what we did k equal to lambda square, and when we did k equal to lambda square, what did we got? If you remember, we got our x of x to be, we got auxiliary equation, and from there we wrote this as c1 e raised to lambda x plus c2 e raised to minus lambda x. So now what will be your c1 and c2? It will be c, so what is x dash of x? c1 lambda plus c2, so this will be minus. Okay, now let's use the initial condition. So 0 is equal to x dash of 0, which is nothing but c1 lambda minus c2 lambda. This implies c1 minus c2 equal to 0. You can take out lambda outside, and since my lambda is non-zero, my c1 minus c2 is 0. And again x dash of L, so c1 into lambda e raised to lambda L minus e raised to minus lambda L. So this implies, again you can take out lambda outside, so c1 into e raised to lambda L minus e raised to minus lambda L equal to 0. c1, this was what? Sine hyperbolic of lambda L is equal to 0 two times, right? But now when the sine hyperbolic is 0, if and only if my theta is 0, but my L is non-zero, therefore lambda is 0, but lambda 0 is not possible because my k is positive, so therefore c1 is 0, and as soon as c1 is 0, this implies your c2 is also 0. So this is exactly the same thing which we did for type 1. The only thing there was we were playing with x of x, here we are playing with x dash of x, and then we use that initial condition, still we get the same result. For k equal to 0 case, when my k was 0, what did we get? We get x double dash equal to 0. So what is your x of x? It is nothing but ax plus b. And what is x dash of x? It is nothing but a only, right? And now if you do the same thing, what do I get? What is x dash of 0? It is 0, so this implies your a is 0. So therefore what is your x of x? It is nothing but b. So let's take b equal to 1 just for simplicity. So what do I get? X naught of x equal to 1. So we get one non-zero solution for k equal to 0 case. And now let's go for k to be negative. So for k to be less than 0, I have k equal to minus of lambda square, where lambda is again positive. And what we had x of x to be equal to, we had this to be a cos lambda x plus b sin lambda x. This is what we got. Okay, so now if I differentiate this, what do I get? I get x dash of x equal to minus a lambda sin of lambda x plus b lambda cos of lambda x. Okay, now what is x dash of 0? If I do x dash of 0, I get this to be 0, cos 0 is 1, I get b lambda. So this implies either b is 0 or lambda is 0. But the lambda can't be 0, right? Because my k is negative, that means my lambda is strictly positive. So my lambda can't be 0, therefore my b has to be 0. And similarly, if I take 0 equal to x dash of L, what do I get? I get minus a lambda sin of lambda L. So this implies what? My lambda is non-zero. If my a is 0, then since b is also 0, I get a trivial solution. My x becomes 0, so I get the trivial solution. So suppose that a is also non-zero. So this implies what? Your sin of lambda L is 0. But when sin theta is 0, sin theta is 0 if and only if theta is integral multiple of pi. So what is my lambda? So what are my eigenvalues over here? Same thing, n pi upon L, which we got in the previous case. So as my n will keep on changing, I get different xn's. So therefore what do I have? I have xn of x equal to, and again for simplicity let's take a to be 1, b was 0, take a to be 1, I have cos of n pi x upon L. This is what my xn's are. And you take n from 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 means my x naught is nothing but 1. So that case I am taking it out over here. So this is what my xn's are. So if you see carefully, for type 1 my n was starting from 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is starting from 0, because for k equal to 0 also I am having a non-zero solution. So that's one small slight change over here. Okay, so I have xn's. We do the tn's same way, there is no change in the tn's, and therefore what will be your u of x comma t is nothing but summation n is running from 0 to infinity. In the previous cases, my type 1 it was n was from 1 to infinity, here it is from 0 to infinity, and this is nothing but summation n is running from 0 to infinity. What do I have? Let me take there the constants were bn. Let me take here an. So it is cos of n pi x upon L e raised to minus c square n square pi square t upon L square. There is no change in tn. Tn works in the same way, and instead of taking bn's I am taking tn's, just as to keep the notation in sync with the Fourier series. You will realize it. So this is what my u is. This is what the solution is when both the ends are insulated. Now again the same thing. What are my an's? So now let's use the initial condition. So what is my f of x? It is nothing but u of x comma 0, which is nothing but summation n is running from 0 to infinity an into cos of n pi x upon L, n pi x upon L. And where is my x? X is from what? 0 to L. So my our right hand side, or you can see here my function is nothing but this summation. So it is nothing but the Fourier cosine series, the half range expansion in the interval 0 to L. In such a scenario, how is your an's are given by? So if you recall our Fourier series lectures, our a naught is nothing but 2 upon L integration 0 to L f of x dx, and your an's for n greater equal 1, it is 2 upon L integration 0 to L f of x cos of n pi x upon L dx. Again the same thing, your function has to be piecewise smooth function, so that when you find this ans and you plug in over here, this series is actually equal to the function. Okay, otherwise this need not be same, but you take function to be piecewise smooth function. In such a scenario, you find ans, you plug in over here, that is equal to the function. So thus this is how the solution looks like. Your u of x is nothing but this summation, where ans are nothing but this. For n equal to 0, it is this. For n greater equal 1, this is our ans. Okay, so let's end this session with the help of an example. F of x equal to cos of 2x, your L is pi and your C is equal to 1. Diffusivity constant is 1, the rod is of length pi and function is cos 2x. Okay, so I know the solution. The solution of insulated rod is given by summation n runs from 0 to infinity. Once again I am saying here it is 0, whereas in type 1 it was n was running from 1 to infinity. It is nothing but an into cos of n pi x upon pi. My L is pi, n pi x upon L, but L is pi into e raised to minus c square n square pi square L t upon L square. What is L? L is pi, so pi square. Pi square will go away and pi will go away. Okay, so my job is to find an. So let's first find a naught. So what is my a naught? A naught is nothing but 2 upon pi integration 0 to pi f of x cos 2x dx, and this is nothing but 0 because integration of cos is sine, and sine 2 pi is 0, sine 0 is 0. Let's find an. So what are our ans? Our ans are nothing but 2 upon pi integration 0 to pi cos of 2x into cos of n pi x upon L. But then your L is equal to pi, so that gets cancelled away. Integration of cos nx into cos mx is 0 for n not equal to m. For n not equal to m. So here only my n equal to 2 will survive. Means a2 will survive, because whenever our n is not equal to 2, this integral will always be 0. My third lecture on Fourier series. So this is nothing but 2 upon pi integration 0 to pi cos square of 2x dx. This is nothing but 2 pi. What is cos square theta? It is 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2 dx. And if you try to solve this, 2 to 1 upon pi, and this will be pi. So I think a2 is coming out to be 1. So therefore what is the solution? So your u of xt, which was this summation, but a naught is 0, only n equal to 2 is surviving. So what is your u of xt? Your u of xt is nothing but a2. What is my a2? A2 is 1 into cos. What is my n? N is 2. So cos 2x e raised to, my c is given to be 1, minus n is nothing but 2, so 40. So cos 2x into e raised to minus 40. So this is what the temperature function is. So given x and t, you put the value of x and t, you get the temperature of the rod at that position and the given time t. So that's how you solve such kind of problems. Just for practice sake, you can solve remaining two problems. So if I take f of x equal to 1 minus x upon pi for L equal to pi and C equal to 1, and you take one more example, f of x equal to x minus pi by 2 whole square, L equal to pi, C equal to 1. Try to solve them, and you can put up your answers in the comment section. And if you have any doubt in any of the derivation or the examples, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.